Hey there, this is Barry Rapkin from Identified Technologies. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, and it's my pleasure to speak with you today about the top 10 most common drone myths and mistakes. The agenda for today is we're going to go through the basics that everybody should know about drones, how drones are benefiting your specific industry, talk through the top 10 most common drone myths and mistakes. Then we have a special limited time offer, only for live attendees, then open it up for audience Q&A. If you have any questions, even though we have Q&A at the end, feel free to enter them at any time, and I'll try to address them as we go. One of the most common questions we get is, hey, remote control planes and helicopters have been around for decades. Why is there this sudden massive interest in drone technology? Well, if you ever used an RC plane or helicopter, this was probably your user experience. They're a fun toy, but they're made of maybe flimsy plastic or cardboard. You can fly them around for a few minutes, maybe a few hours if you're really lucky, but pretty soon a gust of wind takes it, smashes it into a tree or into the ground. And they were a toy, they weren't a real tool. So what changed? What has made the massive interest in drones that we see today possible? Well, it's really a combination of things in government and private sector innovation. We have flight controllers from NASA. The GPS is put out by the US Navy. Miniaturized sensors like accelerometers and gyroscopes that many of us see in our smartphones. High quality, light, low power digital cameras, all combined with progress in model aircrafts and battery life are what make the modern drone possible. A lot of people ask, well, okay, I need a drone. What kind of drone should I get? And as we'll talk more about, buying a drone is like buying a house. There's no one perfect answer for everybody. It depends on exactly what your needs are. If you are a 15-year-old millionaire who's kind of, batching it and living large, you're going to maybe want a couple of hot tubs in the background and, maybe a private chef. If you are a 40-year-old couple with 2 kids, go to church every Sunday, you may have a little bit different needs. So likewise, for drones, there's no one single drone right for everybody. You can spend $100 million on a Global Hawk from Northrop Grumman. It'll fly at almost 400 miles an hour and weighs about 32,000 pounds. Or on the other end, you can go with a DJI, great brand, get a Phantom Vision 2, and if you just want to do some photography or a little bit of video, that'll be perfect and give you everything you need. So it's all about finding the right drone for your specific needs. And we're seeing early applications in drones for all kinds of different things. For real estate, so you can show off the quality of the area, maybe how much acreage you have. For sports and movies and shots that historically you would have only been able to get by hiring a pilot, getting a plane or a helicopter, paying for the fuel, getting them logistically out there, and at a huge expense. Now you're able to get that exact same shot much, much more easily, much more safely, and much more inexpensively. And companies like Amazon and Google are experimenting with using drones for delivery. So instead of having to bring out an entire UPS truck to give you your maybe 5-ounce DVD, now you just have a drone bring it right to you. This is not just a nice to have in some cases, but a must have. There's all kinds of third world countries where they physically don't have roads. And if someone gets sick and they need medicine, the closest road may be 2 hours away from their village. But even if they don't have roads, drones can still get to them. So drones are definitely being explored for delivery, not just as a convenience, but as a potential life-saving measure. So how are drones benefiting your specific industry? Well, we're seeing applications in mining, construction, oil and gas, mapping, surveying, landfills, and agriculture. I'm going to talk briefly through just some of the early applications in each one, but if you would like to learn more, go even deeper, feel free to go to our website, It's identifiedtech.com after this presentation. And right at the top, there's a tab for industries, and it really breaks down the exact use cases and values across each of these industries. So, but just to quickly speak to it, in mining and construction, you're largely trying to do the same thing, which is move earth. And with drone mapping, you can track that progress over time. So you know exactly how much earth is being moved, exactly what you're spending per yard, exactly what your costs are, how profitable the project is. And that doesn't just help you ensure that the project goes well, it actually improves things for the future too, because you can know, hey, we did a project just like this a year ago, and this is how much it cost us. So let's take those same estimates and bid more effectively on this next similar job to either ensure that we win the job, knowing what our real costs are, or knowing that we don't go underwater on the job and end up not being profitable for it. So really valuable just for tracking progress over time. In oil and gas, it can be used to track well pads, impoundment ponds, and any kind of 3D tracking. You can geolocate all your welds on pipelines, do pipeline construction, and it's great for tracking right-of-ways, where normally you might have to have someone marching along the road, maybe tens of miles to check to make sure that the right-of-way is clear. Now you just send out a drone to do it. And with change detection technology, they can actually automatically flag any differences, any vehicles or vegetation that's parked in the right-of-way. For agriculture, you can see what areas need more, maybe pesticide, more water, more nutrients. For landfills, it's great not just for the initial landfill construction, for the earth-moving examples I gave, but also making sure you're making the best possible use of the airspace and that you are optimizing it using every square inch you can without going too far and being out of regulatory compliance. And for mapping and surveying, it's just a way to do what you're doing now cheaper and more effectively. Now, instead of needing a plane to capture a huge amount of aerial data, you're able to do it, again, much more quickly, much more cheaply. You're not paying for jet fuel, you're not paying for a plane, you're not having to pay a professional pilot to get out there. So just big cost savings, and help you sort of control headcount even as you're increasing your capabilities. And again, if you do want to go deeper into any of these areas, I encourage you after this presentation, go to identifiedtech.com. Just check out our industries page where we review these more fully. So one of the questions that we get a lot is, how can drones help me do my business better? And the biggest problem that we're trying to solve is in project management. In all these cases, whether it's earth moving or tracking these big industrial projects, every day project managers are asked to do the impossible. They go to war with a mountain of paperwork. They have to communicate to their contractors, their leadership, their customers, all while having perfect visibility to every change on every massive job site, all simultaneously. It's an impossible job. You can't be three places at once, and sometimes something has to give. I've been on some of these sites. I got to go out to Kentucky recently to see Kokosing Construction carving through 5 massive mountains to put in a new highway for a DOT project, and you can't even see from one end to the other. It's 1,000 acres. So there's just no way by eyeballing it to really know what's being done and how things are progressing, especially on a multi-year job. So unfortunately, largely sites are still managed the same way today that were 20 years ago. It's construction done off of rolled up paper blueprints. Managers are just walking the site with clipboards, taking notes and pictures. And all the stakeholders have to physically visit the job site to check progress. Aerial overhead data is only rarely captured due to the large costs and delays. And this leads to a few problems, because it is fundamentally impossible, no matter how good you are, how hardworking you are, or how experienced you are, to make fast, informed decisions without consistent site visibility. And that leads to inefficiency, because expensive contractors and rental equipment often go unused due to the bottlenecks that could have been prevented with better information. It leads to project delays, because you're waiting for customers to get out to the site to approve portions of work and release funds for the next section. It leads to low profits because when projects go over budget, it comes directly out of the contractor's profits. And unfortunately, it can lead to low customers or lost customers because customers who experience disappointments on their project may not use you again, may stop mid-project, or in some cases may even file lawsuits. And we don't want any of that to happen. And that's where drones come in. They give you job site visibility. They're accurate. It's automatic. You can literally track your job site with the push of a button. It's near real time. Instead of spending a month collecting survey data and another month processing it, you can have your data gathered in minutes, and it's secure. And that brings us to a little bit about our company. We are a leading fully managed drone solution. We improve job site transparency and profitability so you can really see what's happening. We're trusted by industrial leaders in energy, excavation, mining, and engineering. They use us because outdated methods are slow, inaccurate, dangerous, and unnecessarily costly. And they use our integrated job site production tracking and optimization technology, and we're proudly headquartered in Pittsburgh, PA, with clients around the world. A few of the clients we serve are Kokosing, I mentioned before, doing work in Kentucky, Carmeuse, and Vulcan in mining, and aggregates, Casella and landfills, EQT in energy, PJ Dick in construction, and many, many more. And we're proud to have been featured by Built World's Construction Business Owner, Construction Dive, Construction Executive, recently in ENR. And you may have seen our booth at the Tech Experience at the ConAg, a few weeks ago in Vegas. So been getting a lot of good traction, and there's a real appetite for the visibility that the drone mapping is bringing. So you can not just hear about it, but actually see it in action. Here's some screenshots directly from our drone mapping software. So a lot of people think, oh, with a drone, great, I can snap some photos, but it goes way beyond that. It's not just photos and video. You can actually automate advanced mapping and tracking with at least the same, if not better, to the accuracy that you're used to. You can get orthomosaic overlays and 3D volumetric analysis for stockpiles and aggregate inventory. We have a new product called Truck IQ, where you can actually see the cycle times of each of your trucks, see exactly how much they're moving, how much you're paying them, know what your real costs per yard are. Contour mapping, we can do as-built versus as-planned blueprint overlays. So you can overlay the initial drawings with the real job site and make sure everything lines up perfectly. That can make, if there are any issues, you can address them early. And this goes a long way to making your leadership and your clients breathe easy and sleep better at night. We have new change detection technology, which lets you, I had mentioned the example of seeing vehicles and vegetation in right-of-ways for energy monitoring. You can also do it for heat maps to show the progress made over time on earth-moving projects, see how vehicles have changed and equipment. And besides giving you this tracking, showing cut and fill progress over time, we also securely share the data and allow you to export it in all major file formats, either to share with your team or to do post-processing. So how are we different than alternatives? Well, if you got a traditional aerial survey with a plane or a helicopter, you're generally looking at $15,000 or $20,000 per. Again, you're paying to get them out there, for the pilot's time, for the fuel, usually a few weeks to book it, and the data is actually gathered quickly once they're out there, but then another 4 to 8 weeks to process the data. So usually 2 to 3 months from when you first request it to actually get your data back. If you have a manned survey team, they're going to usually come out more quickly within a few days, but still, if it's a 100-acre job site, might take about a month of work at about $1,000 a workday, 20 days, 20 grand. And then once they gather the data, which can take about a month, it'll take a few weeks to process it. So again, looking at maybe 2 months, ballpark. With our drone service, instead of getting updates on the progress on the site once a year, once a quarter, once a month, you can get it weekly, daily, hourly if you want. There's unlimited updates with one low-cost monthly subscription. There's no booking lead time. You just push the button on the drone and fly. And to do a 100-acre job site takes 9 to 10 minutes. And then to get the data processed, usually you get it back in a couple hours. So you fly that morning, and then you're looking at your data before you leave the office. One option is, instead of using a fully managed service, to do it in-house, which is fine. Some people do go that route. Here is the checklist that you're going to want to follow, and the considerations you should make if you do want to build your own internal drone department. So you have to have FAA regulation. Skypan was recently sued by the FAA for $1.9 million for doing commercial drone work without the proper certification, and it's not a matter of if they'll come knocking on your door, it's when. So really important to have all the proper FAA regs. You'll need people to pilot the drones, to source them, to train them, to keep them operationally safe and compliant. You'll need the software, the hardware, the processing, storage, and management all in place. Not just for the drone, but all the data that you're going to get from the drone. Most of these files are several gigabytes just for one map, so it's not something where you would just want to necessarily email it back and forth. You'll need to take on the risk and insurance of the drone, and then also just crashes, tech support, replacement for the drone. Even if no one's injured, might be 50 grand every time you need to replace one. And then the normal drone mapping process is you're going to get a KML with the map perimeter. The KML is basically like a Google map just showing the area that you want to map. Then you're going to lay ground control points. You'll create and upload your flight plan. You'll fly the drone, geotag the data, transfer the data to a processing system, process the data, store and manage the data, and then from there you can finally analyze it and collaborate with your team. With identified technologies, it's a little different. We've tried to cut out and automate as many steps as possible so you can just get right to what you're after, which are the insights and information that you need to run your business. So you select your flight plan of the job site, you activate the drone, it'll automatically take itself off, fly the area in a lawnmower pattern, capturing all the data, come back, land itself. The data is automatically processed, and then you can go online and access and analyze your job site on our portal. It's scalable, there's no manual piloting, and it's highly reliable. And that takes us to the meat of today's webinar, which is the top 10 most common drone myths and mistakes. So everyone in the audience, thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoy these top 10. So myth 1, drones are just a temporary fad. They're hot now, and everyone's going to forget about them in a couple years. I can tell you definitively, commercial drones are here to stay. They're not going out of style any more than electric drills or smartphones. Unmanned aerial vehicles are to business today what computers were in the 1980s. Companies that realize the transformative impact of the technology are leaving their late adopting competitors too far behind to catch up. Deploying sensor-laden drones to gather analytical data has brought the construction, mining, and energy industries into the 21st century age. You can now gather more information more quickly, less expensively, and make better decisions than you ever have before. And drones are only improving and getting better. And the software and analytics to get more from the drone data is only improving and getting better. When we first started out, we had a lot of industry leaders saying, yeah, it seems interesting, but you know, it's just too soon, it's too early, it's unproven. And now more and more as industry leaders have adopted it, the people we first talked to day one are coming to us saying, okay, I don't want to miss the boat on this. How do I get going as quickly as possible with the minimal time to market? So myth number 2 is whatever you buy today is still going to be fine. It'll still be cutting edge in a few years. It's not true. UAV technology is evolving so rapidly that the state-of-the-art drone, the best drone you can buy today, may be obsolete in a few years. Recent advancements in sensor and processing technology have led to a dramatic expansion in mapping services. We now offer 3D digital surface models, 3D volumetric analysis, contour line maps, site heat maps, as-built versus as-planned comparisons, everything we talked about. And as this technology continues to improve, it will allow us to give even better service to our target industries and even better insights. Identified is constantly updating not only our Boomerang software, so the drone, the flight planning, the analytics always have the newest version, but with our subscription, we also update your drone automatically. So it doesn't just get new software, but we'll actually swap you out with a cutting edge, high performance drone. So you're never left with something that is obsolete. Myth number 3, drone mapping isn't as accurate as traditional alternatives. So in the picture there, you got a helicopter compared to a modern drone. And today's mapping drone technology provides you with job site data that is faster, more accurate, and more scalable than traditional alternatives such as manned aerial surveys or ground teams. If after this it's something you want to dig into more, go to our website, identifiedtech.com, go to our resources page, and there's one there specifically on how drone data compares to traditional standards. And we used a third party called Spatial Analytics to look at our data versus standard aerial data, put them side by side, and you'll see how they line up. The Boomerang system isn't just as accurate, but it's also more timely. So you know not where you were a month ago, but you actually know where you are as of that morning, which is incredibly valuable because on a fast-moving job site, old data is incorrect data. And having that near LiDAR quality data that's high enough for virtually any job at a lower cost with more timely data can boost your reputation as a cost-conscious business, make you more attractive to a number of potential clients. And as project managers looking at a computer screen for analysis to give them more valuable updates. And suddenly you have at clients' fingertips, at your contractors' fingertips, everything you need to have a shared discussion, just like you're all standing at the job site together. In terms of the question that, look, all drones are basically the same. There's hundreds of drones out there, and to find the one that's best suited for your mapping needs can be a challenge. Just like there's different horses for different courses, one drone that's perfect for one situation may not be right for another. So it's important to find the right drone for your applications. Again, on our website, we actually, in the resources section, have something on what drone is right for me and my business. So whether you are trying to do bridge inspections or agriculture or film for movies, they all have a different answer. And I would definitely advise you to explore that. The secret answer is not that we're perfect for everyone, by all means. So I think there are things that we can do that we are genuinely the best in the world at, in some cases the only ones can do. That said, there's a lot of things that we can't do and that we would definitely direct you towards other options. So feel free to reach out to our team. We want to be there as advisors and support you. And yeah, we're not afraid to point you to a competitor if they're the right ones for your needs. Myth number 5 is drones are a replacement for people. Not true, not true, not true. Drones are a tool your teams can use to increase their speed, their safety, and their quality. Just like a drill is not a replacement for a carpenter. Better tools do not replace professionals. Better tools empower their operators to do more in less time. And commercial drone operation requires a trained operator to supervise the drone's data collection, and that's something that we assist with. But now, instead of data capture taking months, it takes minutes. Drones can't shoot through thick tree canopy, just like planes can't and helicopters can't. So you would still need a surveyor to map the ground below or to autonomously fly through indoor rooms. Drones also can't autonomously fly through indoor rooms, so you would still need somebody to walk through. So drones can't do 100% of every task in the surveying world, but there are opportunities to rapidly map the majority of the job site via drone. This allows you to dramatically increase your team's performance, speed, and safety. And we got a nice quote from Bill Clifford. He's the head surveyor of Cocos and Construction. He said, "The boomerang system takes workers out of harm's way. You can just sit back safely and watch it work." Myth number 6. It's easy to do it yourself to build a drone solution. If you want to make a call, you're not going to set up your own satellites and your own cell phone antenna. Many companies debate whether to buy their own drone or to use a specialized data provider, and it's important to understand the real cost of drone ownership. Drones for reliable industrial site mapping start at $50,000 just for the drone itself in upfront capital expenses, and usually go way up from there. You can be looking at easily $500,000 with all the legal fees and the technical team, hardware, software. And you'll need more as you scale. That's just for one. If you want to go it alone, that's really what you need. And if you buy your own drone and if it's damaged or it flies off or it's lost, you're either out your entire investment or you're tied up waiting on your hands and not getting data until it's fixed. So companies are looking at the advantages of leasing a drone. For leases of our system, we provide all of the flight control software, the data processing, the analytics, the data storage and sharing tools, insurance coverage, updates. It's pay as you go, so there's no upfront capital expenses, there's no surprises, and if there are any problems, it's on us to fix it. So there's no different providers pointing fingers at each other, blaming each other. The problem just gets solved. This allows you to focus on your work. You can act with confidence, and you just choose the job site, the type of mapping report, and we take care of the rest. Myth number 7 is that drones don't have a value for industrial companies, that they're just toys. And there are really two categories of drones, toys and tools. A flimsy little plastic or cardboard drone, because they're still out there, won't last long on an industrial job site. If it takes a gust of wind or grazes the side of a crane, it's going down pretty quick. But the drones we use can fly in snow, wind, rain, in some cases readjusting their positioning up to 300 times a second to maintain their desired flight path. We empower ENR 400 companies like P.J. Dick, EQT, Vulcan, and Casella with the ability to track progress on highways, well paths, mines, and landfills in near real time. Drone mapping is now well past the experimental, early adopter phase. These aren't duct taped together, held with like paper clips and prayers. They're robust. And we are not too many years out from it being rare to go past a job site without seeing a drone over it tracking the progress. Most industrial leaders know that the latest surveying and mapping drone solutions can get them their data more quickly. Now they're discovering that the real value of drone mapping is in helping other issues hindering their business. Faster and more accurate data saves time and money by reducing project costs, avoiding delays, and preventing hazards and injuries on the job site. Like we talked about, old data is incorrect data. So by speeding up your data collection, speeding up your data processing, you're also speeding up your accuracy and improving your decisions. Myth number 8 is that it's all about the drone. Even though you don't want something that's flimsy and falling apart, the truth is there are hundreds of drones on the market, and most of them can put a sensor in the air. The real magic, the real differentiator, is the subsequent data processing, management, and analysis. It's not the drone, it's the data capturing sensors and the processing and the analysis and what you can get from that data. It's all that lets you really make smart business decisions. Myth number 9 is that following FAA drone regulations is optional. We've talked to many people. They just shrug their shoulders and say, hey, I'll be fine. No one will find out. Who's going to know? But yeah, the FAA just issued a $1.9 million fine against Skypan for operating a drone without the necessary commercial certification. The new Part 107 rules do make it realistic for every industrial company to do drone flights, but there's still hazards there. It's still important. It's still complex, and that's something that we walk you through and support every step of the way. Introducing UAVs into airspace is a challenge for both the FAA and the aviation community because the USA has the busiest, most complex airspace in the world. It's important to learn the best practices and common mistakes for regulatory compliance and drone operations, not just for legal coverage, but just for safety and liability for your business. And myth number 10 is that drones are only good for photos and videos. So hopefully if you walk away with nothing else from today's session, it's that it's not just photos, it's not video, it's complete 2D and three-dimensional maps, it's progress tracking over time, it's change detection over time, it's knowing your real costs, it's as-built versus as-planned overlays to make sure it's all on track, digital surface models, orthomosaic overlays, all of that is now absolutely possible using drones. So just to talk really quickly through what the onboarding process looks like, if you are interested in using drones for your business, we would help you get your 107 certification. That's what's going to allow someone on your team to start using a drone commercially. As I mentioned, you don't have to be out there with a joystick flying the thing. Getting a 107 is almost like getting a learner's permit for a car. You show up at a testing center, you take the test, 60 questions. You have to get, I believe, 42 correct. And once you have that, you're allowed to commercially fly. It means that you know not to fly at night, not to fly next to an airport, not to fly through a preschool, and it's just sort of common sense stuff. So we're going to get you all trained up, set up with a testing center. We right now have a 100% pass rate, which we're really, really proud of. So if you sign up, don't blow it for us. We're we're real proud of that. And not only is it going to decrease your time to market, but it's going to mean you don't have to pay for multiple sets of the test. You're going to be able to fly with confidence, reduce your training costs, and reduce operational mistakes. You're going to have an initial conversation and setup with our client success department. They're going to find out exactly what your goals are for drone mapping, what you're trying to achieve, what your benchmark is, what your baseline is today, so we can track and make sure that we're really getting you the value and the results that you need, and finding out any concerns that you might have or your team might have, so we can address them early and make sure that you have a smooth, flawless experience. We'll give you training and education with not just webinars, but training guides, best practices, workshops, screen shares, even coming out in person to the site if that's needed. And not only do we have best-in-class support one-on-one, but we also have a complete support center online that all our customers have 24/7 access to. So anything they want to study, research, it's all there for them, and it's constantly updated. Then after that, we'll do quarterly updates just to make sure you know exactly what tools are available to you, what new technology has been rolled out since last time, and that we're getting your feedback on what new products you'd like to see us unveil. So what is the real, true value of drone mapping? Helps you win more bids, helps you track and increase profitability, it improves quality assurance, and it helps you with client satisfaction and retention. Got a nice quote from Phil Schumacher, the Vice President of Operations at Bentley. He said, "Drones are a tremendous marketing tool for us. We work for some big companies where the VP doesn't get out to the site very often. And the ability to show potential clients before and after 3D graphics of our work gives them more confidence than describing it on a conference call ever could. Now, we're not just asking them to take our word for it, we're bringing the real project right to them." So in terms of that, winning more bids, you do it in a few ways. It lets you market yourself better. Picture says 1,000 words. It lets you track your real costs, so you're able to make smarter bids where you're not going to lose money, but you're also not going to price yourself out of the market. A lot of our customers do government work where the lowest bidder wins, period. So if you can confidently go in knowing you're going to make a nice profit without shooting yourself in the foot by losing the contract, it just gives you a much, much more stable foundation to grow your business. And then in all the ways we've described, by seeing where your job site is, not where it was, your profitability improves and your quality improves. So with that, I want to thank you. You guys have been really patient. I hope you found it informative. And I want to get to Q&A and start answering your questions. Everyone is here. We have about 30 people in the audience, and you're here because you want to learn more about what drones can offer your business. You are curious about what problems they can solve for you, what the onboarding process looks like, and I want to know more. So if you can maybe ask a little bit about what your specific applications are, what your concerns are, what functionalities you need, I would love to start fielding those questions. So please don't be shy. Questions are very welcome. And I also want to make an exclusive offer. So just for live attendees, we have something where if you want to sign up, you can actually win a free month of aerial drone mapping. So I'm going to send out a link right now. I'm just going to put it in the chat box to all. So if you can go to that link after we're done with this and fill out the questions, you have a chance of winning a free month of aerial drone mapping. And yeah, for audience Q&A, keep those questions coming. I'm seeing a few pouring in. Okay, we got a question from Veda about pricing. It basically just depends on the number of job sites you have and the exact package you need. So if you want Truck IQ, where you can actually track all your trucks, not just their locations, but their cycle time, their efficiency, and put the exact cost that you're spending on them versus exactly how much earth is being moved to see your progress overall, day to day, week to week, and optimize based on that, you would pay extra for that. Everything else that I've discussed, though, is just included with the base package. So all the analytics, the ads builds versus the ads plan, the change detection technology, orthomosaics, 3D volumetrics, training, that's all just built into the plan. In terms of what the exact cost would be given your job site and needs, I would invite you to please just go to our website, identifytech.com. I'll include the link right now so you can jump right to it and just sign up for a demo. You can see our software in action, make sure it's really a fit for you, and our representatives will be able to tell you what the real costs are going to be given the number of job sites you have and your specific needs. Got a good question from Joe on can we talk about accuracy and how the accuracy is certified. So we actually get down to sub-inch accuracy in terms of volumetrics, two-dimensional contours, whatever you need, it's sub-inch. If you do need tighter than that, as I mentioned before, we're not a replacement for surveyors. We're a tool, and it may be a situation where 90% of the work can be done by drone, and then you still have surveyors do a small portion of it, but it's still dramatic cost savings and much more efficient than having completely manually surveying the entire job by hand. And we're not surveyors. We don't offer stamp drawings, but we can show you very specific case studies and side-by-side comparisons done by third party, validating that our accuracy is every bit as good as alternatives. And we would also invite you, if it's a concern, we can do side-by-side tests where we'd come out to your job site, fly, put that data next to yours, and make sure it's up to your standards. What other questions do people have about the technology, about applications, about regulations or processing? These are great questions. Is there any question on capabilities where you're wondering what the limitations are of what drone mapping can do? One question we get a lot is where where the technology is going, where it's going to be in a couple of years. And what was funny being at the Con Expo, we did a panel with a lot of kind of leading drone industrial leaders. I shouldn't say leading leaders, but what was funny is everyone agreed that it was really hard to know where the technology was going because it's progressed so quickly in just the last 3 years that to look another 3 or 5 years out is almost impossible. The trends we are seeing, though, is not just in drones, but in industrial work and construction in general, is a combination of big data and Internet of Things um, really coming together. So more and more tracking on the job site, more and more communication between different things, whether it's people and equipment. I saw Caterpillar has these vests that if you even step near a vehicle, it will automatically stop to prevent the chance of someone getting run over. Um, so some really clever, smart Internet of Things applications combined with more and more autonomy. Not just drones that can fly themselves, but in some cases excavators that can drive themselves. So you have this interplay between automatic data collection from more and more sources and automatic work done by tools and equipment where we're getting to a point that the job site can actually run itself a little bit, which is pretty amazing on, in some cases, these, $100 million projects where people there are more there to facilitate, make sure things are running smoothly, but aren't having to put themselves in at a safety risk. So we got a great question from Veda, got a great question from Joe. I've really enjoyed speaking with you guys today, and if you have any follow-up questions, I'd invite you to please click one of the links that I gave in the chat box. You can go to identifiedtech.com to learn more about drone technology. We have all kinds of resources on a lot of the most common questions. Um, and yeah, with that, I just want to thank you all so much. I hope you found today educational. And if you want to explore drone mapping further, see if it might be a fit for your needs and your organization, I hope you'll come out. So thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful day and week ahead. Thank you.